I've never seen a, like, facial transplant that's been successful. And the only time I've ever seen someone with, like, this messed up of a face, for lack of a more fresh way to say that, is, everybody remembers that picture of, like, that bride and, that army guy. I don't know if he was, like, a Marine or what, but he's, like, in his dress blues, and his face is all messed up because he got, like, blown up or something, and then his wife, like, left him, like, a few years later. Does everybody remember that? This is the only time I've seen something similar to that, but this guy wasn't military. He was in a car accident because he fell asleep at the wheel, and he burned, like, over 90% of his body, and he no longer had hands, and he no longer had a face, so he got a face transplant.
I'm assuming the flame started when I hit the curb on impact.
I'm gonna take my hat off for this so there's, like, less
A breakthrough
in the way.
surgery that has never been successful until now.
His face and hand.
Hold on. I'm fucking things up. I'm gonna take my hat off. I'm really interested in watching this chat. I'm also gonna take off the limiters on the top of the screen here so we get the full image. We get the full image. Let's go. Buckle up, brother.
Hands used to belong to someone else.
The first ever successful face
and double hand transplant.
What did they say to you exactly?
You might not make it.
That's crazy. Science is crazy.
I definitely have a lot of lucid dreams about, like, my old face. I never really had dreams about the burnt face. I don't know why. But I do have dreams of my old face. And
I know you can't really be picky and choosy when getting a face transplant, since apparently his is only the third one that they've ever tried, right? But it feels like he was, you know, like some New Jerseyan, Italian-blooded guy in the US, and they gave him the face of, like, a British constable.
then I also had dreams of what I think I'll look like in the future. I moved out of my parents' house at 18 years old.
Like, he was fucking handsome, too. Like, that's so sad.
Own car. It was a little bit out of my budget, but I was like, you know what? I could afford it now. When I got my headers, I just did it for the noise. I didn't really care about the horsepower, nothing like that.
I don't even know what a header is.
I like something raw, do my own thing, hang out with friends. I was living on, a dream.
Exhaust header? Bro, I retweeted out someone who put a cactuar exhaust thing on their exhaust pipe. I want that. I don't, that feels like it's super inefficient, but I want a cactuar on my fucking exhaust pipe. That was so fucking cool. I had to go to my mods and I was like, Mr. Moderators, I love cactuar. Cactuar is one of my favorite Final Fantasy things. Can I retweet this, or will retards think the cactuar is the secret swastika? I was like, Mr. Moderator, I really want to tweet this, but I'm afraid of the retards. 1,000 needles exhauster, no deal. Yeah, exactly. They said it was fine. No oppression all of this time. Fuck you, I love cactuar. Twitter freaks.
Day, I was golfing with my dad. My job called me while I was golfing. He said, hey, you want to come in for overtime? I was like, yeah, why not? Went home, slept for 5 hours, which I thought that was normal. Clocked in, did my nighttime shift, 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning. I don't remember clocking in or out. I just know I did that. It was 10 minutes away from my apartment. 10 minutes, what's 10 minutes?
That's crazy that it's only a 10-minute drive. And because he was so tired and fell asleep during such a short drive, like his entire life just got giga-fucked. Oh my god. That... Like, I know they always say your life can change in an instant, but when somebody explains how short of a time that it took for them to have something drastically change their entire life, like, it really puts that line in perspective, in my opinion.
Fell asleep at the wheel, and my car got to the side of the road, hit a curb, landed on the roof of my car caught on fire because of the headers. The reason why the headers caught fire is because it hangs lower than the stock headers. It actually scraped the curb, which creates sparks, and the oil pan cracked.
That's actually even crazier. that he was like, I wanted to get the headers, but I didn't even care about the horsepower. I just liked the noise it made. I like just something that trivial is what caused such a massive problem. Holy fuck.
And a good Samaritan jumped over the barrier, pulled me out. My shirt was halfway burnt. My hair was not burned. Not even my socks were burned. So like my feet isn't burnt. I still had my skin on my feet. I had a Fendi belt on. Pretty mad when I woke up from a coma. Mom told me, yeah, they cut your belt off. And I was in a coma for 3.5 months.
Wow.
You can hear people. It's all dreams, but they're mostly bad dreams because like when they take you into the tank room where they wash you off, take off all the bandages, that's not fun. You can feel the pain. So you're dreaming about pain. They're not meaning to torture you. They're just taking out the bandages, but it still hurts.
Yeah, I could not imagine if I was like completely mummified, bandaged, with like burns all over my body. The amount, even if you're drugged out of your mind on painkillers, like just the pain of them taking off those bandages to like clean you and put fresh ones on so you don't get infected. Yeah, actual fucking nightmare fuel.
Everyone asks me, like, do you experience the afterlife? The only thing I experienced is me walking my dog. He passed away in 2012, 2013. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm assuming this is the afterlife, just me walking my dog on an endless hill.
Well, at least he still has a sense of humor, right? That's good. That's a good way to put it. He's like, is this what the afterlife is like? I just fucking walk my dog downhill forever? Yeah, thanks, God.
First thing when I woke up from the coma, the first thing I asked my mom was, how are the rooms on my car? You know, she says, well, Joe, they're gone. The nurses come running in because they heard my voice, so they come running in, and all the nursing stuff, they just bombarded me, and they're just like touching me, vitals, if I'm in pain. My mom had to leave the room because it was just too hectic. And then my dad explained the accident to me. I just think she couldn't do it because, you know, it's a mom. When I realized everything was different was the next morning when the doctors came in, and they told me we had to amputate your fingertips down to the second knuckle.
Oh my God.
Your eyelids are burnt off.
Oh my God.
You can't open your mouth fully no more.
That is horrific.
You're also burned. So like, what, like Freddy Krueger? He's like, yeah, like basically like him. I was like, oh, okay. And like, you're just like,
this man is far stronger. Like, I mean, you have no choice but to accept it, right? Like, there's no fucking option for you. But like, just that's a strong man. Jesus fuck, I would have broken the fuck down. Okay, what a fucking champ. Like, holy shit.
oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want like a lot of drugs, you know. So it's like you're not fully there. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm just gonna heal up. I just probably gonna look bad. You know, like Freddy Krueger, he's mobile, his hands move. But in reality, when you're burned, you can't move like that. It took about like 10 minutes just for me to like sit up on the edge of the bed. And then just to stand up for the first time, it felt like I walked like 5 miles. At that point, I was like, well, there goes my life. That's it, I'm done.
Oh, man.
2 months after rehab, I had no more healthy skin to do skin grafts on. I went back to my Jersey plastic surgeon. He was like, there's nothing else I can do for you. But he's like, I know this doctor in New York City. They're looking to do a face and double hand transplant. He said there's 2 before me. The first one passed on the table, and the second one, the hands failed. So that was like the first thing he said, like, this can fail. But
yeah, we've had this happen twice before. The first time the person died on the table, and the second time, you know, the hands failed. You want to be the third? You want to try? I was like, I guess when you're in this position though, like, what choice do you have, right? I mean, if you put yourself in the position of like your hands are gone, your entire body is just burned beyond recognition besides his feet. He's lost his face. You know, he can't really see very well anymore. He can't talk very well anymore. Breathing was probably difficult, right? Like he said, my life is over. Like, if your life is already over, it might be an easier decision to be like, well, if it's already over, then I get this surgery and it either works or I die in the surgery and it's no different from right now. Build a dreadnought, put you in that shit. You're interested in the double hand transplant? How functional are they? Yeah, I mean, they're focusing mostly on his face because that's fucking crazy, right? Like being able to transplant someone else's face onto a different person. That's like sci-fi tech in my layman brain, right? But yeah, I'm interested in the hands. Like I want to see the hand movement as well, because I've only ever seen prosthetics, right? And there's some good fucking prosthetics, like metal robotic prosthetics, but they were just like, we're not going to give you a prosthetic. We're just going to give you somebody else's flesh hand.
Going to any surgery, you can die. So that didn't bother me at all. You're going to die anyways. Might as well die trying to be independent again, live my life.
Oh, I'm glad he said the same exact thing I did. There we go. I am clairvoyant.
How they stitched me up was just like a patch up, you know? It wasn't forever. I didn't want to live on my parents' couch the rest of my life either.
Aww.
Because I could go blind.
That's insane. Like being in this kind of condition and like worrying about your parents still. Man's got like a heart of fucking gold. Holy shit.
In the long run. And on top of that, when I go blind, I can't use Braille because I can't feel with my fingertips. So I went blind and then lived on my parents' couch the rest of my life, watching their TV, you know, using their electric bill, all that junk. I moved out for a reason, to live my own life, and they lived their life. They're done raising me. They did their job as parents. Like, my mom basically became a mom again. You know, I'm not a mom, but I'm assuming you kind of don't want to do that after your kid turns 18. You want to do your own life. And then who's going to take care of me when my parents die?
I just like, since they're showing images, I wanted to see like the extent like that. You can tell where he's gotten skin grafts too, and it's like, you know, some of it looks fine on his legs, but holy fuck, I could not imagine being this person. And he's got gloves on. So he's got like some kind of function in his hands, but I wonder what the gloves are hiding, chat.
The surgery was 23 hours long. A lot of doctors were involved. I think a total of 86. They cut off my burnt face.
That's
around
crazy.
the hairline, behind the ears. I think they really connected behind the ears. A lot of scar tissue there. Down around the neck. They put the donor face on. They had to reconnect it, like all the veins, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons. They put 2 metal plates in my cheekbone so it wouldn't sag. And what they...
So maybe they put the metal plates in his cheekbones so his cheeks wouldn't sag. So maybe that's why it's like super puffy right now. I mean, maybe later on they take out those metal plates once they have noticed that it's viably taken to like his nerves and everything and it can sit up on its own. Maybe? I don't know. I mean, I feel like at some point they'd have to take those metal plates out, right? Wonder if he could get another procedure to make him not look like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Well, no, that's what I was just saying. He said they put metal plates in his cheeks to prevent the donor face from sagging, because it has to, like, whenever you get a transplant, right, it can get rejected by your body. So even though they connect his nerves, there could still be some that like fail, maybe? You think the donor is just too British.
Hands, they basically cut like right here, reattached all the veins, ligaments, nerve systems. And then I was sedated for about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
That's crazy! I didn't know we could do that! Why have we been using prosthetics if this is something we're capable of doing?
Up from my surgery, eyes were swollen shut, so it's just black, but I'm awake. And I'm in a lot of pain.
All right, chat, if you're gonna get hand transplants, what if you get hand transplants from someone who's a different race? Would that even be possible? Like, what if he got like hand transplant from like a black guy and then like a Japanese person's face? Would that even be possible? What would you put down on your legal forms for what race you are at that point? Because you're like, well, biologically I'm Caucasian, but I got a Japanese man's face and a black man's hands. You know, like what would you do? He would be the first black samurai. I didn't think that happened to Carl. How would you buy a set of gloves? That's a good point. You want a robot hand so you can make Skywalker jokes.
I'd have used my robot hand for good.
The nerve pains are shooting. It felt like cats clawing at my palms.
Oh.
My parents were there. Both of them were there at the time, but I couldn't see them. I couldn't see them for about like 2 weeks. My eyes were swollen shut. I was not allowed to touch my face, and I listened. The first time in my life I listened to someone. Before my accident, I was super independent. I had to restart my life at 20 years old. I'm still learning how to change how I do things, you know.
Oh, hold on. I want to rewatch that part.
I'm still learning how to change how I do things, you know.
That's crazy. That's crazy. This is like showing before, so like before the hand surgery when he had just like the stumps at the knuckles. And then after the hand surgery. Like, I mean, it's not crazy mobile, but it's way fucking better.
Every day is a different learning day.
Pinwheel.
Damn, his wife's hot. Damn, she got booty.
We met April 1st of 2021. I found out about Joe through one of my nursing school professors. I remember looking at the picture of him, right, before and after, and thinking, dang, that sucks. He was a handsome
That's
guy,
what
but
I
that's all I
said.
thought. Then I watched a documentary that his hospital released. The one thing that I was captivated by Joe was when he said that he wanted the hand so he could go back to work.
Aww.
So it wasn't even, oh, I want a face so that I look normal again, or so that people would stop staring at me. He wanted hands so that he could go back to work, and I just was like, oh, like that's like so sweet. So after watching that, I followed him on Instagram.
And one day I'm just like chilling at my parents' house, going through my followers, and I saw Jessica and her dog. He's a Boston Terrier. To have a Boston Terrier, you have to have like a certain personality.
Aww.
So I DM'd her saying, I like your dog.
The first thing he said was, I like your dog. We started texting. We started FaceTiming. When it was starting to get flirtatious, I was like, should I go for it? Should I not?
Chat! Wagyu! This man got burned on 90% of his body and got a face transplant from a British constable, and he got a wife whose ass is more bubbly than his face transplant. Alright? You're all gonna make it! Yeah, the dog wingman, dude.
Right? Because at that time I was 30 and he's 8 years younger, so he was 22.
Oh, wow.
I remember telling one of my coworkers at the time.
Wait, hold the fucking phone!
Because at that time I was 30 and he's 8 years younger, so he was 22. I remember.
So she's, at the time that they started talking, she was 30. So she's somewhere in her 30s now. She looks really fucking good. She looks hag love, brother.
I remember telling one of my coworkers at the time, who I thought was cool. Her first thing she told me was, why would you do that? You know what's going to happen. These transplant patients don't live that long, and he's going to be in the hospital. Obviously, I didn't listen to her.
Obviously.
And
fuck that
just
bitch.
Pursued my relationship with Joe. We met in person 3 weeks after. I was going to be closer to him, so I said, hey, I'm going to be in Philadelphia.
So she came up to my parents' house. Her dog, Kirkland, I think helped break the ice, you know.
I'm not used to going to someone's parents' house anymore, but I had to go to his mom and dad's house.
Which I'm sure that was awkward for her, because like, first of all, you're meeting someone that looks like me, so I know that's awkward.
I wasn't nervous or scared about Joe's situation because I worked in organ and tissue procurement, so I was surrounded by tissue donation, transplant, organ donation.
She's seen a lot worse than me. She also worked in the coroner's office back in LA, so like she's seen a lot worse. That's something like me.
Oh, she worked in the coroner's office. You know, she saw dead bodies all the time. That's way worse than what I look like. I like this guy's sense of humor. Holy shit.
Her can connect on too, like things like that doesn't traumatize me or like affect me. So she can talk about work. So I was kind of awkward at first, you know. The first thing I said to her is, you look a lot smaller in person. To me, that's a compliment. I would say if someone said I look skinnier in person, oh, thank you.
Yeah, right?
And we had dinner, we played pool. I just felt so comfortable with Joe. And when we hugged for the first time, we just had a connection. It didn't feel forced at all. And then he was being very flirty. He was like, why don't you just sit on my lap?
Oh.
And I was like, okay.
Oh.
Right? Because you don't expect this from Joe, because he's quiet, he seems shy, and then he said, sit on my lap.
A lot of people don't
He's
mind
a booty man.
how did he pull it. I'm 6'1". Being 6'1" helps, but you also have to have a little confidence. Girls like confidence.
True.
So I sat on his lap and we kissed. And I remember it being different, right? It's not his face. He can't control his lips like he used to be able to control his lips. So it was definitely a different type of kiss.
Then, you know, she left. As soon as she left, he started texting again.
You know, I think it's harder to meet people nowadays that are going to be genuine and have true intentions.
True.
I just knew that I wanted to spend more time with him.
After a year was up with her job, she wanted to do a travel nurse. I thought I'd just be in Jersey, you know, never traveled, never had the idea to travel, you know. But then Jessica came in, like, you know, there's more than Jersey.
Oh, his face looked like it was getting better in that last bit. God damn, she is gorgeous. What the fuck? I don't even know what she's wearing. It's just like chocolate that draped on her. I'm just like tweaking out over here. Women will date a 6'1" guy who looks like this instead of a 5'11" guy who doesn't. What the fuck? Women like confidence. Is this true? Yeah, just fucking fake it till you make it. If you feel afraid, if you don't feel confident, just like fucking muster it, man.
I'm traveling now because of Jessica.
7 at least.
I proposed September 7th, 2024. I'm not romantic, so I said, just will you marry me? December 5th, we eloped in Hawaii.
Oh my god, that's a beautiful wedding dress
I never
too.
in my life thought I would say that.
I see Joe and I starting a family. I think when you love someone, you find someone that you want to be with, you just want to...
And your kids will be like a gotcha because you don't know what his real face is right now. You know, you have pictures of when he was younger, but like, considering the state of his body right now, it's literally a gotcha roulette for what the kids are gonna look like. That's crazy. Oh my god, gambling addicts should get together with burn victim units, all right? We get...
See what someone would look like that's a little bit of you and a little bit of them. Maybe acts like me but looks like Joe, or, you know, vice versa.
Because of Jessica, I want to be a dad. I think every guy can say that, like, after they find that right person. Maybe some guys want to be a dad before a relationship, but that was not me.
We're excited. I mean, it's nerve-wracking.
He's
with social
so
media,
sweet,
people are
Chad.
quick to judge me and my relationship with Joe. You know, I'm a gold digger. I have Florence Nightingale syndrome. I have a fetish. Joe could handle it really well, but, you know, women have different feelings, different emotions. I handle it differently.
It's crazy that even if you're dating someone who doesn't have a lot of money, you still get gold digger accusations. It's like the Outback Steakhouse all over. If I was gonna be a gold digger, I would not go for a fucking food delivery driver, man. Come on, have some brain cells.
They're gonna judge you for 5 seconds and move on with their lives. So I'm not gonna let their 5 seconds judgment affect my life and how I live. Not hold anything back, because in the beginning I held back a lot of stuff. It's not a perfect surgery, and I was making a perfect surgery in the beginning, but then I realized, you know what, let me be real, like actually real. Putting my story out there to motivate people to get out of their funky days and the cloudy days. Didn't realize my story can actually save, you know, life. I got the blood sword. It sucks. I got into an accident. I lost 80% of my skin, and I had someone else's face and hands on me. But then I also found out my life partner. And if I wouldn't have had that accident, I'd probably still be a cocky 26-year-old. I would prefer not to be burned.
That's crazy. He called himself cocky. He's like, yeah, I'd still probably be like some cocky piece of shit, but you know, now I got the love of my life. This guy, he's so sweet.
If I had that accident, I'd probably still be a cocky 26-year-old. I would prefer not to be burned, but I like my life now, just because I have Jessica around.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good and like healthy way to look at traumatic events you've had to go through, right? Like obviously, like, yeah, he'd prefer to not be burned, but it's like that's kind of how I tell my stories about my childhood as well. Like, yeah, sure, it would have been great to not have to go through a lot of that shit, but since I did, you know, can't cry over spilt milk, I like who I am now. I like me as a person, and I try to be as good as I can be. He's a man's man. He's a man's. I'm glad that he has a fucking stunning wife who also has a heart of gold. He deserves that, man. That's crazy. That's a crazy fucking story. He may have been a cocky when he was younger, but now he has swagger. Yeah, now he's got fucking swagger, man. Trauma builds character. I hate that trauma builds character, right? Because it's like, I don't want people to have to go through something traumatic in order to be like a good character. But I guess sometimes, oh, that's the wrong box. I guess sometimes like that's just how it be. I don't know, I just don't like that because it makes it sound like you want people to go through shit. And you don't want people to go through shit because that's bad, you know? Too much trauma will destroy character. When will God stop testing me? When can I finally just be a woman?